Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops 2 In Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the VTOL Warship killstreak. The gameplay that you're going to be seeing is me earning the VTOL, which is killing a lot of people, objectives, that sort of stuff, and then gameplay of me using the VTOL and a little bit of private match testing. What we're going to be going over first is the health attributes of the VTOL, and then we're going to swap over to what I'm going to call a feature overview because the VTOL has a lot of manual user controls that very few people know all of them. Then we're going to talk about its damage, some of its quirks, and some overall tactics to make it very easy for you to use and very easy for you to take down. But as I said, we're starting off with health first. The VTOL has 3,100 health or 3,100 health, however you want to look at that. This was done basic private match testing. We just shot it until it died, counted the bullets, looked at the damage, and there you go. If you're using FMJ, it's going to do twice as much damage to kill streaks, so it's only going to have 1,500 health. It's a little bit more than twice as much, but just saying twice as much is an easy rule of thumb because depending on how it rounds and the damage of the gun and blah blah blah. But FMJ is very, very effective against kill streaks. It's very effective against the VTOL as well. This does not mean that FMJ is making your gun do twice as much damage. It's that kill streaks, like the VTOL, are coded kind of funny to where they're kind of like a wall. So when you're shooting at them, you're getting kind of like a wall damage reduction, and FMJ is wall penetration. So it goes through, and that's exactly what's going on. But that is a whole lot of damage, either with or without FMJ. You're probably not going to be able to solo this with an SMG or an assault rifle or even a light machine gun. You are going to need 2 to 3 people cooperating with you to shoot down the VTOL with bullets. It's just kind of hard to do. It takes an absolute beating. We had to get 3 people with DSR 50s going to shoot it all at the same time before it would die, before it ran out of time. And speaking of time, I guess you would call this a health attribute. The VTOL stays in the air for 55 seconds. It's a relatively short kill streak. It doesn't hang around 2-3 minutes. You need to use it or you lose it. And 1 RPG can kill it. 1 small can... my bad. I don't think it's too small as 1 RPG, but it is a very easy target for non-lock-on rockets because it's very big. The VTOL is somewhat tough on flares and missiles as well. It can take up to 3 FHJ missiles to destroy it because it has 2 sets of flares. The first missile and second missile are going to deploy the VTOL's first and second set of flares respectively, and your third missile is finally going to shut it down if you hit it, if it doesn't move behind a building or something. Skipping over to private match, we're going to talk about the features overview on the VTOL Warship. I'm going to fly in over here on carrier. Right now it's in optical mode. You'll notice that in the bottom by the Y, and if I zoom in using the left stick, you get a little extra zoom, a little extra precision. I very rarely need that. If you hit the Y, it can change between a sort of thermal or optical vision. I greatly prefer the thermal. I think it looks better, especially on me when I'm colorblind. If you hit right bumper, you're dropping missiles everywhere. Your right trigger is the regular old machine gun. The machine gun's very damaging, and if you use left bumper, this is probably the most important one, you're changing locations with the VTOL Warship. You got a lot of different stuff going on with the triggers and the bumpers. That right there is what I would call a rocket spray. If you hit right bumper and drag your screen around a lot, it kind of drops rockets all over the whole map. My recommendation is that you hit left bumper a lot to keep moving your ship, and that you leave it in FLIR mode. I find that it's much easier to follow people. Yeah, dropping rockets while you're moving, very, very effective. Let's talk about the damage on its offensive capabilities. The minigun rounds have splash damage. This is something that I want to make very clear. It's not like the AGR or Dragonfire where it shoots little raycast cones and you have to hit people perfectly. This is actually shooting some form of projectile, maybe even an invisible projectile, but when it hits the ground it has splash damage. You don't have to hit people directly. It almost always takes 1 or 2 hits to kill. Usually it's 1. Every now and then I see somebody sneak by with a hit marker and not die because they're on the very outside edge of that splash damage, but it's a lot like the chopper gunner from previous Call of Duty games. Very, very dangerous. The spray rockets are also usually a 1-hit kill. I've seen a few people sneak by with flak jacket and escape, but that's a very rare occurrence. And what I like to do is I like to drag my sights across the map while shooting them, or shoot them while I'm moving, so I cover a lot of ground with those missiles. They are very, very deadly, but most people forget about them when they're working the VTOL. I'm going to roll this into the offensive capabilities, even though I already covered it before, but I greatly prefer the thermal black-white mode versus the regular mode. I think it makes it much easier to spot targets. I'd highly recommend doing that. And the most important thing that you can take out of this in-depth is that changing your position frequently is what keeps you alive. I hit the left bumper a lot. I just keep moving positions because people know where I am and they lock onto me and they try to kill me. Especially if it's a map with tall buildings, I can pound a spawn for a little bit, and about the time they lock onto me, I can change positions and the missile will hit a building and not me, and I'll continue to live. It's very, very beneficial, so I just keep spamming that left bumper, or whenever you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, usually about 10-15 seconds, it's time to move. You don't want to stay anywhere very long. Well, guys, that's all for this in-depth episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something useful. If you'd like to check out my previous episode on the buffed SWAT 556, you can click the box on the left. It'll open a new window. My next episode is going to be a shorter in-depth about how to climb ladders faster. Very quick tips there. I also have an app down in the App Store, but it's a class-building sort of app. You'll find links to that somewhere in the description. And as always, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.